Alright, so hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity. Today we are going to be getting into my eyeshadow palette collection and going through all the palettes that I have in my eyeshadow collection. There's a lot. I am not going to be doing my single shadows because that's one I definitely need to dedicate an entire video to, and I just don't have time now here before I move and stuff like that, so I hope that's something I can do once I move and settled sometime in the summer. So that is going to be the only part of my collection that I don't get to this time just because of time constraints. It's not only going to be a single eyeshadow palette collection, but it'll be a major declutter, organization, all that fun things, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're just going to be talking about the eyeshadow palettes today in this video and running through all the ones that I have, and if I see any along the way that I'm like, oh yeah, I can declutter that, then we'll declutter it, but this is mainly just a collection video, not really focused on decluttering. So I figured we would start here. We have one shelf, then there's another shelf directly below here, and then there's like one little rack of, or like a row of palettes in a little container like this, or like a little holder up on the top, which I hopefully will not forget to go through. But anyway, let's dive in. We'll start with this and then we'll move over there. Per usual with all of my kind of collection videos or declutter videos, I always try to link where I get my little holders, acrylic containers, that sort of thing, and I will link them if I can find them down below in the description box if you're curious. But let's go ahead and just start here. We'll work from the back and go forward. So first up here I have the PROFUSION Sassy Siennas palette. Most of these I've done reviews on. If they're here, I'm pretty sure majority of them I'll have my reviews for on my channel, so if you just want to YouTube search Katie Marie and then name the palette, most likely the monthly makeup review where I reviewed it will come up and you can watch it there, because I'm not going to be linking them all down in the description box because there's not going to be enough room. But anyway, this is the Sassy Siennas palette, and it's a pretty neutral palette, and I do like the pop of yellow there. It can get a lot of really pretty looks, and if I'm feeling neutral, this is the palette to go to. My Cool Tone Beauty from Pretty Vulgar is the Nightingale palette that I got in my BoxyCharm. This is what it looks like. A lot of really just kind of black and brown type of looks, but they're really pretty, and I did enjoy them, and if I did this with like a glitter on the lid, that would be up my alley, even though the tones are all neutral, but I really do like this one. Next up is my Rimmel Magnify Eyes Jewel Rock Edition palette, and I really did like this one, even though like it wasn't my favorite from the whole Magnify Eyes line. I feel like I've tried creamier products. The colors in here was a lot of fun, and the overall looks that I got I really did enjoy, so this is definitely one of my favorite palettes, just color story wise from this line, but quality wise, I don't know, I feel like there was another one that was nicer, and I don't even know where that palette is. Maybe we'll come across it, but I really do like the color story of this. This little section right here was my fave. Next up I have the Mad for Matte e.l.f. palette. This is a classic and one that I literally never think to reach for because that is so boring, to be honest. I'm half inclined to declutter this, but for right now I'll hold on to it, but I can definitely foresee myself decluttering this in the future. Next up we have Pixi and its Judy Time palette, another pretty neutral palette, but I did like the mix of shimmers and mattes in here. I remember getting a lot of pretty looks. The shimmers are more of that kind of creamy, like too creamy type of shimmer that transfers everywhere, but you do create a lot of pretty looks out of it. I'm holding on to it for now. This is the BH Cosmetics Marble Collection. It's the like stone version. It's the cool tone. If we can focus someday. Thank you, camera. This is what it looks like, and I remember just not being so impressed with the looks that I got and the quality that I got, but it is a pretty unique looking palette, so maybe one day I'll reach back for it and kind of refresh my thoughts before I get out of my collection. And I like to have a variety of brands, so I'm gonna hold on to this for now. Next up back here I have the Hasina 2 from Blush Tribe. I really do like this. This was my first Blush Tribe purchase and kind of got me hooked on the brand. I really like the color layout. You can get purples, blues, and greens and mix it up for a lot of really fun colors, so this is a good one. I also own the Polina palette. She did such a good job on this palette. It is so beautiful. I have had issues with the shimmers doing weird things with the mattes in my crease. I think that's just my oily eyelid issues, but just something to keep in note. However, when I do all matte looks with this palette, it is absolutely beautiful, and I still do like the palette and the looks, but just something to note. Not that you can get this again, but overall, I like this palette. I'm trying to keep this part short and not go on too long about reviews on the palettes, but I do like this, never going anywhere. Next, I have the Profusion Mixed Metals in the Peach palette. I remember really enjoying this, but it's a pretty darn neutral palette that I feel like I already have all the shades in the Sienna's palette. But we're just gonna keep it for now. I do like having a smaller Profusion palette, and I remember really liking the quality of these shadows. Next, we have my Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette, literally the only palette where I keep the sleeve just because the sleeve is so pretty. But here's what it looks like. It's definitely a pretty palette, but it's definitely very neutral for me. I do really like this orange. The purple is gorgeous. The purple matte is pretty too, but I haven't reached back for this since I reviewed it. And this is definitely one I would like to reach back for sometime in the next couple months because I do remember the quality being really nice. I named this as a favorite palette from 2018, so you guys know I love it if I can open it. This is the NYX Machinist Grind palette. I have no idea why they kind of released it and then got rid of it in such short order because this is such a good palette and I absolutely loved playing with it last year. I really wish they would bring it back. The packaging also was really pretty. My Melt Cosmetics Gemini, another favorite from 2018. This is what she looks like. Such a pretty palette. Absolutely love this side of it, but these kind of mustard, not mustard, that's more mustard, but you know, warm brown, orangey colors, oh, they're all just so beautiful, and each look I create with this palette I absolutely love. And last up over here, trying not to show you everything in the reflection, is the Dose of Colors Sassy Sienna's palette. This is what she looks like. I feel like this doesn't get enough love considering how like bright and vibrant these colors are. Like I know it's just a brown on this end, but this is like a neon peach. This is a really unique brick red. I really like this palette and the looks that I got. While they were neutral-ish because they're more on the brown spectrum, like they were intense and I thought they were gorgeous. So definitely one that I really should reach back out for. Alright, so that is all on this side. Also, I meant to say at the beginning, but if you're curious, if you see any palettes that are missing and you're wondering what happened to them, I currently have the Shop My Stash for March over in my daily makeup drawer. So any products, I think the only one from over here is the Alamar Cosmetics Reine del Caribe palette that I did pull out to shop my stash for this month. But besides that, I don't think there's anything else that's missing. But I try to mention that at the beginning of these declutters just to give you guys a kind of context of when I'm filming them. But anyway, this is all done. Let's move over to the other side. Also, I should mention these, and then I have another couple containers down there of like glitter liners and glitter shadows. We're not going to get into, we'll get into those on another day when I do my liners. So anyway, not going to do those. We have enough with just the palettes. All right, starting in the back, I have the Revolution or Makeup Revolution Emily Edit the Wants palette. This big baby right here. It's a nice mix of colors. I like that. It's kind of neutral, but it still has color in there, even though it's like very soft color. It's like a really nice, easy wearable. I really enjoy Emily Noel as a person, so I'm never going to get rid of this. Next up, I have the BH Cosmetics Carli Bible palette. I'm kind of tempted to get rid of this because it's just such a neutral palette, but I did like these highlighters at the bottom, so maybe I'll give this another try. My biggest complaint with this is that you can't go very deep because these don't go very deep, or they like had shimmer in it. Yeah, this is very shimmery. You know what, let's just declutter this. I have other BH Cosmetics palettes and I just don't foresee myself ever reaching for this, even though I thought these were really pretty. It's really just like this one that I would use, you know, or maybe, you know, these, but I just wasn't crazy about the highlight or the top section, the eyeshadows. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this, even though it's very pretty. Next up, I have the Juvia's Place Zulu palette, a really pretty palette with a lot of fun, unique colors. I used this recently and really enjoyed it. And then my newest love, it stole my heart and never given it back, is the Tribe palette by Juvia's Place. This is so pretty. I had so much fun creating looks. Each look that I created with this, I absolutely loved, and I can already tell you this is going to be a favorite for this year. I'm definitely going to reach back for this at least 1 or 2 more times because I'm not done playing with it. Then we have the Pure Soiree Diaries, a very neutral palette. I did used to like this because it just had like 1 row of shimmers, like a more highlight, brow bone highlight, warming up the inner crease and then darkening. But looking at it now, it's kind of boring. I don't know. I think I'm just going to get rid of this. I do like the packaging, but that's really the only reason I was keeping this. I'm going to declutter this. Any palettes that I purchased and that I'm decluttering, you'll be able to buy them on my Poshmark if they're not too old. Next up, I have the Tartelette in Bloom palette. This used to be my jam. I bought this, I want to say like 14, 15. I did a review on my blog, absolutely loved it, used it a lot, and now that I've gotten into color, I like never touch it. So it's a beautiful palette, but it's just not my jive, but I'll still keep it because it brings back a lot of memories. I do think the quality was nice and the packaging. Come on. Next, I have the Dose of Colors Francation palette. I feel like so many people love this, but I just really wasn't impressed, mainly because these shimmers just morphed everywhere on my eyes, and I did not like that kind of messy grungy look. That's not me, so it kind of annoyed me, but I'll keep it for now. The packaging is pretty. Then we have the Urban Decay Beached eyeshadow palette. I really enjoyed this palette. It's pretty darn neutral, but it had kind of like this warmer, brighter color here. I love the blues. I had a lot of fun with this. Like, it was simple. There wasn't a whole lot to do just because there was like 1 matte, but I think this would be great to like mix and match with another palette. I don't know. I really enjoyed this palette. And then last up here is the Marvelous Mauves palette. palette. This is definitely a neutral palette, but it's just such a nice array of mauve tones. It's really pretty. I enjoyed using this whenever I did try it out. It was fun to create a couple different looks with it. And the quality of these little 5-pan palettes is amazing. The mattes are so buttery smooth and blend almost effortlessly. It's amazing. Okay, so with those two gone through, we're gonna go down and do the next shelf, and then we have the top at the very end. Okay, so before we get down here and do all these palettes, I do want to talk about these here. This is my Too Faced Chocolate Bar Palette collection. Let's run through them really quick. In the front here is the Chocolate Gold palette. Definitely my highest recommendation when it comes to the chocolate bar series in general. I just think this is such a great palette to give you nice pops of colors, really intense metallics with the staple kind of mattes that you need. This is definitely a palette I need to reach back for this year and play around with some more. The Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette is the newest addition to my collection. This one was a very neutral. I still have the stickers to like keep track of which shades I used and whatnot when I was originally trying it out. But anyway, it was really pretty, but it's definitely very neutral. Like you don't get a whole lot of vibrant looks unless you're going to use like this red or this orange, but overall it was very pretty. Then we have the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This is, I feel like the more we go through these palettes, like the farther back we get, the more neutral we get, because this, like all these look the same to me now. But I remember really enjoying this palette. It definitely gives you a lot of soft looks, a lot of like springy looks, so I can see why people enjoy it who aren't like intensely into color. Like this is really pretty. Next up is the Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar. This used to be my favorite palette. Like I wasn't a fan of the original chocolate bar. This was my jam. When I first kind of got into the chocolate bar series, I love this palette so much. I enjoyed using this blue, but just I don't know what about this. Like maybe it was this yellow. I don't know. Something about this palette I just thought was so beautiful, and I was always reaching for it to create looks. But now that I look at it, I'm just like, kitty, it's all brown, but I'm still keeping it because sentimental. Then we have the Chocolate Bonbons palette. This one I could probably get rid of because I really never use it, and I honestly have it kind of back in the corner where you can't see it. But I'm going to hold on to it because I have every other palette in the collection, and maybe in my next house I'll be able to display it better because it is really pretty and the packaging is cute, but it's just not, the colors aren't me. And very last up, what started the trend is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. This is the OG, and I was never really crazy about that, even though it had like the greens and the gold. I don't know, I was just never really into this, but it is pretty, and I'm keeping it because of sentimental. Alright, so before we get to all of these palettes, which I absolutely love how they look like books on a bookshelf, I want to go through this, and this is like my smaller palettes. We'll go through these because I can't fit them, but I am anticipating getting rid of a couple in here, so I hope I'll be able to fit everything nicer. But these are all my Smashbox Photo Studio little trios here, and they're really pretty nice quality. I wouldn't say that the shimmers are like out of this world intense, like they're definitely not foiled, but they're a nice shimmer. That's a really pretty little quad there. I really like this all matte. Like they do mattes really nicely. I thought in this little kind of trio collection, I thought the mattes are really nice. I think I'll get rid of this just because it's so similar to this. And then this just only has the one matte, so I'll use this one more. So I'll pass this one along. This is Holy Crap. And then this one is Nude Pick Deep. All right, so now let's go through this. I'm just going to pull it out. Try not to drop anything, and we'll just kind of reach and go through all the rows. So first up is the Body Shop Down to Earth palette. Now I'm pretty sure I mixed this up because I had two and I kind of made my perfect quad at the time because this was like 3-4 years ago, and so it's all mixed up. I don't know which shades are in here, but here's what it looks like, and this is pretty far from where I am right now, but I'm going to hang on to it because it is the only thing that I own from the Body Shop. Oh my goodness, this brings back so many memories. This is the Physicians Formula. What is it even called? It was their Matte Collection Quad Eyeshadow in Classic Canyon. They've actually reformulated this. I did pick up the reformulated quad, and I want to compare the two and see what I think, and also like recreate the eye look that I did a tutorial with on my blog. Like I would always do that look. It was kind of like my go-to. I just think it'd be fun to kind of go down memory lane and try it out. But yeah, this is not going anywhere. I don't care if I never use it. It's very sentimental to me. It brings back a whole lot of memories. So this is a Rhode Isle palette that I really did enjoy. I think it's just called like the Smoky Eyeshadow palette, but I remember the quality being really nice, the mattes being nice. I don't think the shimmers were anything out of this world. Maybe that's the only shimmer actually. But anyway, I just remember this being a really nice palette and really good quality. Expensive. I want to say this little thing, I'm not going to say because I don't want to, lead you wrong, but I remember it being pricey, and Rhode Isle as a brand is rather pricey. So next up is the Pixie and Wiley Hung eyeshadow palette. I don't even know if they had a name. Let's Talk Eyes. This was a really nice palette, but I don't really foresee myself ever using it again. I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it. I don't know, part of me is thinking I should declutter this one. I do have the It's Judy Time, and I feel like that has a little bit more variety. Let me get it out. Here it is, and they actually just sent me another one. It was like a cool tone, so part of me is thinking maybe I should get rid of this. I feel like this is a little samey, if that makes sense. Like they're different, but they're also kind of similar. I feel like the only thing I would be missing from getting rid of this palette is like this deep brick orange red type of thing, because that's a similar color, but it's shimmer. But I don't know. I remember the shimmers up here being really intense. You know what? I'm going to get rid of it. I don't reach for small palettes often, so I'm going to pass this along to someone else. I have the Smashbox and Velada eyeshadow palette. It's their Petal Metal. Oh, this is so pretty. Watch this. If you turn it to the side, you can see it like drip. Or I feel like I'm not doing it well. I really liked it even though there's only 2 mattes. The shimmers were really pretty, and yeah, I like the packaging. This is the Cover Shop Bold eyeshadow palette. I've been wanting to bring this back out and try a couple looks with it. I feel like I haven't reached for it in forever, but I feel like this is a great palette to have just for those bold colors to kind of create fun and unique eye looks from, for when you need that orange, that yellow, that red type of thing. But yeah, I haven't reached for this in a long time. This came out last year as the Pinks and Palms eyeshadow palette. I like this for like my pastel-y pinky shades. Can we focus here? Come on camera, you can do it. And then this shade, of course, is also very pretty, but I like this palette. It's pretty, makes me think of spring. Next is the NYX Ultimate. This is the Warm Neutrals eyeshadow palette. I feel like this is one I can definitely get rid of. It's hard to see, but I really did use this a bunch back in the day when I first got it. I thought it was phenomenal, but I just don't foresee myself reaching for this anymore. I did a review on my blog though, and I don't know, it kind of has memories, but I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this. I'm sure one of my sisters would love to have it. This is the NYX Ultimate Basics. I think this is, or no, Ultimate Brights palette. This is a really nice palette. I have not reached for this in so long. I really need to reach back for this now that I've tried so many indie kind of matte bold colors. I want to see how the formula of this compares, because I thought this was amazing back in the day, but that's before I tried a bunch of vibrant bold matte eyeshadows that can come from some indie brands, so I really need to bring this back in. This is the OG Comfort Zone from Wet n Wild, not going anywhere. I have such great memories of this, and since it's no longer available, even more reason to hold on to it. This is the e.l.f. Matte for Plum that I just reviewed recently in my last Palette Palooza. I think we're focused, but yeah, this is a pretty palette and not getting rid of it. This is the Cover Shot palette in the smoky version. I remember really liking the green in here, but I don't know if I'd really use the rest of it. This one might get decluttered. Let me put it to the side. I got 2 other ones to go through. This is the Matte Eyes. Oh yeah, this is the all matte version. I really did like this one. This was really pretty. Kind of reminds me of the e.l.f. Mad for Matte a little bit, but I remember really enjoying the formula. And then I have the Ablaze. Oh yeah, this was very pretty back in the day. Now it looks a little understated to me, but it's still a pretty layout. I'm going to keep this, and I am going to go ahead and get rid of the smoky. This is the LA Girls Eye Luxe eyeshadow. This is like, the quality is very nice. It's a little understated for me, but the quality of this little quad is very nice. The mattes are very creamy, and I was very impressed with it. So yeah, gonna hold on to it. This is a Blink Electric Eyes palette. This is an all shimmer metallic. I remember it being really pretty. I need to pair this with that all matte from the Smashbox line, the Cover Shot. Those two would be really pretty together. This is the e.l.f. and Christian Siriano, palette. This was fun for like pops of color. I don't know, I remember having mixed feelings on this, but it would be nice to like grab it a shade or two and create a different look with it, but like just, I don't know. I remember having a little bit of a hard time with this palette, especially these two being like so similar. So I wish they would have like traded it out for a different color, but overall, I mean, this is nice and the packaging is so pretty. This is Milani's Earthy Elements. Again, another palette I got because I thought it was so bright and vibrant, and it was just for that orange shade. And now it's like a earth tone type of orange, definitely not vibrant, but it's still pretty, and I remember enjoying it. I have the Katy Kat palette. What is this one in? Cool Cat. This was really pretty. I thought it was nice, very pretty metallic looks. Definitely needs a matte palette to go with it, but I think I created a look just using this palette before, and it turned out nice, but yeah, this is nice. This is a Found eyeshadow palette. I don't feel like the Found brand is really talked about at all, but I remember thinking the quality of this was really nice. Like, it's super nude and stuff, but overall I just thought it was a nice palette. I haven't reached for it in forever, ever since I originally reviewed it. What was it, the end of 17? So I should pull this back out and kind of see what I think about it now, but holding on to it for now. And then I have the Sonia Kashuk. What was this called? Eye on Neutral Matte 02. I got this because Tati always raved about it, but I don't know if I just got an old palette, because I did buy this off of someone who said it, you know, it was new or whatever, but maybe it was just older than they said. But anyway, I just felt like this would catch and skip in areas. It was just hard to blend without it having weird lines, is what I remember experiencing. So anytime I think about this palette, anytime I think to reach for it, I'm just like, nah, I don't want to. So I'm gonna go ahead and just declutter this. This is my Wet n Wild, what is this called? Not a Basic Peach. This is a really pretty, I like the warm tones and the pop-up blue. This was a really pretty palette. This is the new Comfort Zone palette from Wet n Wild. Really pretty, but I still like the shimmers more in the original, but I do love the mattes in this one. And then last up is a Rosé in the Air. This is like a dupe for the Modern Renaissance. If you don't want to fork over the money for the Modern Renaissance, I thought this really did well in kind of duping it at a really affordable price. Then this is the Kat Von D, I think it's called the Ladybird palette. It's like an all matte palette. I remember getting this just because I like the, can I figure out where the screen is? I like the packaging, I liked the design of it, and then I remember getting this years ago and using it and enjoying it and then getting rid of it, and I was so sad. So I bought it off of Poshmark. I bought it off of a Facebook group, and I've just kind of kept it for sentimental reasons because it is old, so I'll probably never use it, but I like the packaging. And then last up is a Jessie's Girl Backstage Collection. I think this is in like the neutral nudes, yeah. I wasn't too like overly impressed with this palette. I remember it just being okay. The other one was worse. This one was the better one of the two that I tried, but I don't have amazing memories of it. So I think this is one I'm just going to go ahead and declutter. All right, so I know there's a glare, but this is all done. Now let's go on to this. So here we are. As you can see, I'm just gonna pan you. We have all of these kind of lined up like a bookcase. I got this idea from Amy Loves Makeup. She has all her palettes kind of lined up behind her on her desk. So I was like, I wanna do that too. I love how it looks. So I did that with a couple of my palettes here. So I guess we'll just start here and kind of work our way over. This is Studio Makeup's On The Go palette in the, what was this? The cool tones? Oh no, this is like the warm tones. We got this in a BoxyCharm years ago. I want to say like in 15, 16, or no, maybe it was 17. I think it was the year my daughter was born because we just moved to Virginia. Anyway, this is getting rather old. Oh no, my daughter was born in 15. What am I thinking? My son was born in 17. So yeah, this is from 15. Definitely a little bit old. I just never think to reach for it. I remember thinking it was nice back in the day, but this was also like a retail for $50, which was way too expensive in my opinion for what you get. But it is nice. However, it being so old, my preferences having changed so much, I'm just going to get rid of it. Along with the other palettes that we got, I think this is, yeah, the cool tone version. We got this in BoxyCharm as well. I'm just going to get rid of it because I don't really have a desire to use it. Another palette we got in our BoxyCharm, this is the Kitten palette from WinkyLex. I remember having a really good time with this palette. It was a lot of fun. It was a little bit of like glitter fallouty, but overall I thought the shades were pretty, and then the little kind of duochrome-ish shades were really intense and beautiful and unique. So yeah, I have a lot of good memories with this palette, and the packaging is so cute. It looks cute on my shelf. Moving on to the maybe part of my collection, this is Take Me to Tokyo. This is a beautiful palette filled with such vibrant colors, so fun. These two shades are so like understated on the camera. In like real life, they're so intense and vibrant and neon, like neon red, neon pink, absolutely beautiful. Neon green, I love it. Neon blue, it's beautiful. It's a fun palette. Then I also have the Take Me to Santorini. This is a really pretty palette, and I just loved it for the oranges and the yellows. I had so much fun with this palette when I had it out. It created a lot of really pretty looks. Then last up is the Take Me to Hong Kong palette. This was also a really pretty one. Probably my least favorite out of the three that I own, just because these two were such repeats in my opinion. The greens were honestly looked the same on my eyes, but still a couple pretty colors. I really like this gold shade up here. It was very pretty. I also have a Makeup Forever palette, and the number 3 is what it says on the corners. I don't know which one this is called, but I liked it for the really interesting kind of pastel-y shimmer shades. I thought it was really pretty and fun to work with. It's all metallic shimmer, so I don't know how much use I'll get out of, but I enjoy having it. Maybe I'll bring it back into my collection one day. Who knows? I just reviewed this. This is a Sigma Warm Neutrals palette, volume 2. I thought the quality in here was really nice, even though I wasn't too into, the neutrals, but the quality is there. Here is the ColourPop Yes Please palette. This is such a pretty palette. I absolutely love this yellow. This was like the first yellow in my collection that made me fall with yellow on my eyes. I have so many good memories of it because of that kind of intro into yellow, and now anytime there's a yellow in a palette, I'm like, get that all over my eyes ASAP, please. So yeah, definitely brings back a lot of memories, never going anywhere. I also have the My Little Pony palette that I got with my BoxyCharm, another really fun palette. I remember creating so many fun and kind of creative and different type of looks for me with a lot of color, and it was just overall a fun experience. So I just have good memories of this palette. This is, I think, my only palette from the Balm. It's a Meet Matte Nude palette. Here we go. I liked it just because it was an all matte palette, but I'm really not into these shades these days. I don't know. I don't really ever foresee myself reaching for this, and I'll probably declutter it. I'm just going to declutter it because of like the name, my daughter, the dude that looks like he has a shirt off, all that wonderful things. I'm just going to get rid of it because, not only that, but I don't foresee myself using this much, so I think I'm going to declutter this. Some more of my Juvia's Place palettes. This is the Masquerade Mini by Juvia's Place. This was my first Juvia's Place palette and kind of what started the obsession with Juvia's Place, to be honest. I like their mini palettes just because they're smaller pans, so a little more manageable in my opinion. But yeah, this is a really pretty palette. Then this is the Magic Mini by Juvia's. This was sent to me by Crystal C, and I had so much fun using this palette one month. I created so many fun and unique looks. I did a palette bingo with this palette. It's a lot of fun. This is the Menagerie Cosmetics Feral palette. I cannot wait to bring this back into my collection and wear it for a month again, or, you know, not a whole month, but, you know, use it at least a couple times in a month because I had such a good, because the colors that I got were so pretty, and when I first was using it, you guys know, I'll leave it linked down below, or I'll leave that linked up here if you want to see the Change My Mind video, and I kind of go over all the issues and how I kind of solved them. But I've been really want to play with this again just to kind of have fun with it without struggling with it. This is the only Deck of Scarlet palette I have. It's the number 4 palette. I liked it because of the packaging, like the artwork was really pretty, but I mean inside it's pretty darn neutral, and I absolutely hate, how Deck of Scarlet puts their lip products in here. It just makes me never want to use it. However, I do think it looks really pretty on my bookshelf. Is that bad? Oh, yes, I know that's bad. I'm just going to declutter it. I don't need it. This is the Bad Habit Aphrodite palette. It's a nice little palette to have, definitely good for comparisons with the Huda Beauty palette, but it was interesting using this. I didn't have the best of experience, but I will hang on to it, and it looks pretty. This is the Morphe Cosmetics and Jaclyn Hill part of the Vault. This is the Armed and Gorgeous palette. I wish someone else would come out with this exact tones for a palette and a good formula, because I did not have a good experience with this green and the yellows, the oranges. These two were very interchangeable. They didn't really look that different, so that was a bummer. But I like this shade and I like this shade, and overall, I like the tones of it. I just wish it was done better. So if another brand comes out with this kind of layout and it's a good, good formula, I'll definitely declutter this then. But in the meantime, I'm holding on to it. This is Bad Habits Inferno palette. It's supposed to be like a dupe for the Naked Basic, or no, the Naked Heat palette. That's what it was, Naked Basics, oh my goodness. Naked Heat palette, this is a nice little palette, and I think this was my favorite formula-wise from the Bad Habits line and all the palettes I had tried from them. This is the only palette from Violet Voss that I have. It's the Flamingo palette, and I really enjoyed using it. It had a lot of really bright, fun colors. I can't even fit it in the screen. I remember doing a look with these 3 that I thought was so beautiful. I had, lots of fun with this. I really enjoyed it, and I really should bring it back and give it another go for a month. This is the Protégé palette by Suva Beauty. This we got in a BoxyCharm, and I thought it was a really nice palette. I kind of like the mix of warm and cool. I had a lot of fun. Mine came shattered. I really need to clean that up before I make bigger messes, but yeah, I like it. This is the Espresso Yourself palette from the Beauty Crop. It's a very basic palette, but I took it on a trip with me when I just wanted a basic palette in basic colors, and it worked well for that, but I wasn't crazy about this palette, so I think I'm just going to declutter it and pass it along to someone else who can get some good use out of it. This is a new addition to my collection. It's a Spectrum palette from Prism Makeup. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Prism palette, and I really did like this formula. I had a good time with it, so yeah, definitely not going anywhere. Getting into my ABH collection, this is the SUBCULTURE palette. You guys know what this looks like. I really love the tones in here, so I can't foresee myself ever getting rid of it, even if I never want to reach for it, because the colors I got, I love the grunge. This is the Modern Renaissance palette. Definitely not a palette that I'm super into now, just with my, makeup preferences and whatnot, and how much I love color now, but it's nostalgic. It's like a classic. It's kind of like how the Urban Decay Naked palettes were. This is kind of replaced it. The ABH Norvina palette, we all know what this one looks like. This one's really pretty. I thought it was really pretty. I know a lot of people didn't like how not purpley it was, but I thought the colors were pretty, and the looks that I got were really nice. Moving into my LORAC palettes, I feel like I never reach for these just because they're so very neutral, but the formula is so good. I wish LORAC would come out with a really vibrant palette, but anyway, this is the first one. This is the second palette. This was definitely more colorful in my opinion because it had the green, the blue, and the purple. And then this was the third. Brace yourselves. My daughter destroyed it when she was a year by digging her nails into all of these, but this was by far the most neutral. Not a whole lot of variety up here, but I just keep it because I have them anyway, and I do like their formula, and who knows, maybe I'll go back into loving neutral someday. This is my Lime Crime Venus XL palette. Definitely a very reddish type of palette, so I don't reach for it often because that's not always my preference, but I do remember creating a lot of pretty looks with it, and I liked it. This is my IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty Celebration palette. It was like a holiday palette. Oh my goodness, it must have been 15, 14. I think this was way before. It was right after I got married that I got this. Lots of memories there. As you can tell, I hit pan on that one. I don't hit pan on eyeshadow palettes often, so that says something. This is the Beauty Bakery Do It for the Gram palette. I remember enjoying this, but it was definitely a palette I wish I could have used in conjunction with another palette, just because there wasn't a lot in this palette to like deepen up, and a lot of these shades were like duochrome and whatnot. So I think this is a palette I really need to bring back when I compare it with another palette in my collection. I think I would have a lot more fun with it, but overall, yeah, it was really pretty. These two were my favorites. This is the Stilazzi Spellbound palette. This one was okay. Like, it didn't blow my socks off, but it was a nice palette. It was okay. I got some pretty good looks out of it. I'm going to keep it for now just because I have it. I might as well. I don't feel like I need to get rid of it yet, but I don't know. I wouldn't say run out and buy it. If you're really into the colors, if you're not really into like doing cut creases and really intense looks, you want something simple every day, something in the crease, something on the lid, I think you'd like this. But for me, I don't know, I was just a little underwhelmed. I'll leave linked up here my Palette Palooza review where I go in depth about this and kind of explain all the issues and kind of, it wasn't really issues, it was just kind of like, meh, it was okay. But anyway, I'm keeping it for now. My Bad Habit Aura palette, this is the dupe for the Prism palette. I definitely didn't like this as much as I liked the Spectrum, the Prism Spectrum palette. Blah, blah, that's confusing. But anyway, I'm going to hold on to it for now just for reference. And last up on the shelf is this Lancome palette. It's like their sparkle palette. I have a review, I have eye swatches, I think even, of this palette up on my YouTube channel, but this was actually nice, and I feel like no one really talks about it, but I mean, it had its little issues and whatnot. You can go and, you know, watch my review to kind of get the whole scoop on it, but overall, I thought it was a nice palette. I don't know, I was just surprised by that. All right, so there you go. We've gone through all of these. I have room now. I can kind of expand and kind of spread them out and refill this back up. I'm sure I'll have no problem filling this back up. But anyway, we finished this shelf, so let's go up into the top one. I'm probably gonna have to bring it down because I don't think I can get my camera up there without making you guys sick. So let me bring those little organizers down and we'll run through it real quick. Okay, so there were these up there. There was more than I thought. I have like two kind of letter organizers, and then these were just kind of wedged, just to give you guys a picture of what it looked like. It was kind of wedged between here like so on my bookshelf on the very top. So let's just run through them. This is the LORAC and Beauty and the Beast collection, A Tale as Old as Time palette. I thought this was a really pretty palette. I created a bunch of really pretty looks. I want to say I have a dedicated review on this. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But I remember reviewing this shortly after I started my channel. Oh no, I think I did a palette bingo with this maybe. I don't even know. I'll leave it linked up here in the cards if you want to go see, but yeah. Holding on to this because of memories, because of how beautiful it is. I love that it looks like a book, and yeah. This, I don't care if it gets old and moldy, I will scrape out the mold and just keep it for the packaging because I absolutely love the packaging. This is the LORAC and Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales collaboration, and yeah, I just think this is the coolest looking palette. I know it's super big and bulky, but I'm a fan of the TV series, like the first, or I should say I'm a fan of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I absolutely love how it had a secret compartment. Like, how cool is that? I don't know. I'm kind of geeking out over this, but anyway, I love the design of it. I enjoyed the colors. They're not super me right now, but I did like that green. Anyway, keeping this, not going anywhere. This is one of those Urban Decay Vice palettes. Oh my goodness. Long time ago. This is what this one looks like. I have no idea what year this is. I'm sure you guys could tell me. There we go. Let's give you guys a better view of the color. I'm sorry, it's cloudy all of a sudden, but this is what it looks like. I haven't used this in forever, but I should give it a try. That looks really pretty. I don't know, I just never think to grab for it, but I never want to get rid of it because the packaging, I totally bought it for the packaging because I absolutely love that kind of oil slick look to the packaging. So anyway, pretty packaging, keeping it. This is my Melt Cosmetics stack collection. I think in my next house, if I have room, I'm going to get rid of this container and actually just keep them in the stacks because I always forget about them up here. But I have 3 stacks. I think this is like the Lovesick, then I have the Rust stack, and then I have the Haze stack or something like that. They're kind of all mixed up, but I know those are the 3 that I have, and if it can focus, there's what they look like. I mean, it's nice to keep them all spread out, but it's just too big. Like, this palette is so big and bulky, and I have to keep it up kind of high up in my collection. I never think about it. So like I said, if I can find a place to put it in the new house to kind of have it stacked up next to my other palettes, I think I'll just keep them in the stack and get rid of this whole big bulky thing. My Kat Von D Metal Matte palette, absolutely love that aspect of it. I could do that all day. But anyway, here's what she looks like. This was such a cool palette to me back in the day. Like, this was so colorful. I could do so many colors with it, and now I look at it and I'm like, that's really the only color, like vibrant color in here, Katie. Like, everything else is pretty muted, but I'll still keep it because of memories and whatnot. And like I said, I could do that all day. Like that just brings me joy. And very last up, I have my LORAC Mega Pro collection. I have all 4, or maybe they came out with 5. I have 4 of them here that they came out with over the course of a couple holidays. I think this is, there we go, focused. This was the original OG palette. Then they came out with the LORAC Mega Pro 2. I think this is my favorite one. I don't know. I really couldn't say. They're all very neutral for me now, but looking back, I feel like I remember really enjoying this one. This is the Mega Pro 3. Ooh, this white packaging is throwing this off. Let's see if it can focus. If you like neutral colors, this is like a neutral color lover's dream. Like, you know how many neutral looks you can make with this? It would bore me to tears, but I think it would, you know, be a lot of fun for someone who did like neutrals. And then very last up, oh, I remember liking this. This was the Mega Pro 4. I remember liking it for all the kind of unique colors, but more like softer colors. I don't know, it was different, and I thought it was fun. Or maybe it was just the soft pink packaging that was throwing me off. But I remember liking the green. I remember liking that red. I can see that I went into there a good amount of times. I remember loving this unicorn. That's right, I made a really pretty look with this color, and I can't remember what I used in the crease, but I remember those 2 I absolutely loved. And then the blue and kind of the gray, that was pretty. And then I love that green. So yeah, a bit of a different palette for LORAC. But anyway, that is my Mega Pro collection, and they just kind of sit up here in the back. I own them already. I figured I'll just keep them even if I'm not into those tones as much anymore. So anyway, all these just go back up there. All right, and per usual, here is a shot of all the palettes that I'm getting rid of. Not too many, but as I said, I wasn't really looking to get rid of any palettes, but I did want to get rid of any that kind of stood out to me as just palettes I'll never really use again, and these all kind of met that mark. So these are all going on to new homes, probably my sister's, but if I purchase any, like the Carli Bible palette or the Soiree Diaries palette, I will have those listed on my Poshmark. And I always forget to say this when I mention my Poshmark, but I am Lady Katie 92 on Poshmark. Same as my Instagram, my Twitter, my Pinterest, all that, Lady Katie 92. Alright, so there you have it. That is my eyeshadow palette collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it and had fun looking through all of these palettes. Sorry I couldn't swatch them all, but this was extensive enough for me. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot. In the back, I have this palette. Okay, here we go for the last palette. I can't believe I almost forgot this. This is the LORAC Pro To Go palette. It had like eyeshadows here, and then on this side, it had blush and bronzers, and you could also like open it up and lay it out like that. You know, it was several years before I realized that this could come apart. I always thought it was just like one or the other. But anyway, this palette is never going anywhere because this was the first brand to send me PR, and this was like among the first things that they sent me. They sent me a bunch of other things that have gone bad or I've gotten rid of, but this being a palette, I can keep it forever in my opinion, as long as it doesn't get moldy. But this has so many memories because this was the first brand I reached out to, like as I was trying to get into being a makeup blogger. I reached out to them after a little while, and they were like the first ones to actually respond and say like, yeah, we'll send you a PR package. And I was just like, it just made my day, my week, my month, my year. I was so amazed that any brand will want to send me anything. So I have a lot of memories with this, and it's not going anywhere. So anyway, with that said, that is now the end of this palette collection video. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, my single palettes are not in this collection just because it would make it way too long, but I hope you enjoyed it and look forward to seeing my single palettes after we get moved in and settled. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.